distinguished guests, fellow speakers and panelists, ladies and gentlemen in the ballroom and joining us online. Good morning, and I would like to thank the organizers for inviting MPA, and I'm pleased to join you at this Smart Maritime Network Singapore conference and to speak on MPA's initiatives relating to maritime sustainability and decarbonization for the future of shipping. I can see many familiar faces amongst the audience at this hybrid conference today, and I'm happy to be at this physical conference after so many virtual Zoom conferences. So the first segment of my sharing will cover Maritime Singapore's achievements and ambition. So many of you here will be familiar with these key performance and statistics relating to Maritime Singapore, and I wouldn't go into details right here. Instead, I will focus on two pieces of statistics. First, on the container throughput. Earlier this month, we have announced Singapore's record container handling throughput of 37.5 million TEUs in 2021. This is despite a challenging year brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic and supply chain disruptions. Singapore remains the world's busiest container transshipment port, serving as a keynote and catch-up port in the global supply chain. The second point I wanted to raise on this slide will be really on the part about the 30-plus marine tech startups that we are grooming here in the ecosystem. Technology and innovation will increasingly play a larger role in the global maritime industry, with greater emphasis on digitalization and sustainability. In the past few years, MPA has been working with our partners to grow maritime technology, or we term this marine tech in short, working closely with marine tech companies, including the startups. On marine tech, we have an ambition to become the Silicon Valley for maritime technology. So moving forward, as a maritime hub and nation, Maritime Singapore strives to remain as a global hub port and leading international maritime center, or IMC in short. So in the latest edition of the Leading Maritime Cities of the World 2022, published by Manon Economics and DNB, Singapore is once again ranked top for the 5th consecutive time. So for the first time, Singapore is also recognized and ranked top in the maritime technology pillar. This is testament to our commitment and investments into digitalization, decarbonization, and innovation. I take this opportunity to thank all of our partners here for your contribution and support towards these efforts in building and growing Maritime Singapore. So we see that the future of shipping will be shaped by these key drivers and trends. Disruption arising from shifts in the global supply chain, new business models, and changing market structures. Digitalization and automation will continue to accelerate. And lastly, the increasing global pressure for the industry to decarbonize. So I wouldn't elaborate on this further. I think everybody here is familiar with all these issues. So what are our plans ahead to address these drivers and trends? Technology and innovation will be central to our plans to grow Maritime Singapore. MPA has developed 2 master plans focusing on our hub port and IMC twin pillars. The next generation Tuas port, when ready in the 2040s, will be an intelligent, efficient, secure, and sustainable port of the future. It will also be a highly automated container terminal, consolidating all existing container terminal operations in a single location and be capable of handling some 65 million TEUs. Our vision to develop Maritime Singapore into a global maritime hub for innovation, connectivity, and talent. This builds on the strong physical connectivity of our port and strong interlinkages of the maritime sector to adjacent sectors such as finance, insurance, commodity trading, and logistics. Innovation and a talented workforce will be needed to drive this sector. So back in 2018, MPA has unveiled our Sea Transport Industry Transformation Map, or ITM in short, to grow the industry. It also guides the industry on the impetus to transform, focusing on 4 key pillars of innovation, productivity, jobs and skills, and internationalization to address external environmental changes such as those arising from digitalization and sustainability. We have conducted an internal review and will be refreshing our ITM plans soon. So let me move into our key initiatives under these plans. First, on supply chain digitalization. So supply chain digitalization and enabling data exchanges across digital platforms is one key area under our digitalization efforts. Digital Oceans, which stands for Open or Common Exchange and Network Standardization, is an MPA initiative to harmonize API or data standards to achieve ship-to-port data exchange interoperability along the maritime transport value chain to facilitate efficient processing of port reporting requirements and formalities. We are pleased to partner global players such as CargoSmart, Global E-Trade Services, Maersk GTD, Port of Rotterdam Authority, PSA International, and the Digital Container Shipping Association on the Digital Oceans Initiative. Beyond port reporting, we seek to promote global data standards among all the global supply chain community stakeholders and platforms such as the Network Trade Platform, Calista, and the Singapore Trade Data Exchange, or SG TradeX in short. So MPA is also working with our public sector agencies and industry partners to pursue the digitalization of key trade and maritime documentation. This includes the electronic bill of lading and the electronic bunker delivery note. We have recently awarded $3 million to 8 industry projects to develop digital bunkering solutions. These projects would leverage on the data from the mass flow meters on board barges, coupled with the new IoT devices and MPA's Maritime Data Hub to reduce time taken for the industry to complete bunkering documentation. This is estimated to save the industry over 39,000 man days annually and reinforce Singapore's reputation as a trusted and efficient bunkering hub. We would also be announcing the award to our call for proposals on electronic bills of lading soon. So digitalization also helps companies to expand into new businesses and markets. So MPA's annual maritime innovation process gathers industry challenge statements, which is then directed to the 4 solver communities to develop into commercial products, services, or solutions. The 4 solver communities are our marine tech startups, marine tech companies, universities and research institutes, as well as students. This process has been effective in producing new ideas and solutions. Funding for proof of concept, R&D, and product development can be extended to qualifying projects. So some of the solutions that has been developed over time include the likes of intelligent container visibility by podcasts, streamlining last mile delivery for ship supplies by Shipped, confined space inspections using drones by Performance Rotos, and underwater inspections by BX. We are starting the maritime innovation process in the coming month, and we welcome you to join us in this discussion this year. So it is not enough to move ahead with digitalization only with companies that are committed with the resources and capabilities. So in order to achieve greater overall impact to productivity and service levels, we will need to uplift all maritime companies. As you may remember from my first few slides, there are some 5,000 maritime companies in the maritime sector, many of which are small and medium enterprises. MPA has worked with our sister agencies, Enterprise Singapore, or ESG, and Infocom Media Development Agency, or IMDA, as well as the Singapore Shipping Association, SSA, on various initiatives to help bring more companies on board this digitalization journey. First, the Maritime Digitalization Playbook, or MDP, is curated to answer the why and the how, to tap on digitalization and innovation with the objective to lay out a viable and focused digital plan for the company's digital transformation. Next is on the what. To simplify adoption, MPA, ESG, and IMDA has developed a list of pre-approved solutions with co-funding to make it easier for SMEs to choose a digital solution that meets their needs. For larger companies or those who seek to customize their digital solutions to enhance their productivity, the MPA Maritime Cluster Fund is available to support them. Should these digital solutions be unavailable in the market today, companies can propose them as challenge statements to be addressed in the MPA maritime innovation process. Lastly, as a holistic approach to support the company's digitalization journey, the Maritime Cluster Fund Manpower Development Scheme can provide co-funding to support training related to digital skills. So next, I will move on to maritime decarbonization. We are taking a three-pronged approach towards maritime decarbonization. Establish future fuel pathways, enhance fleet and vessel operations, and optimize port-ship interfaces. Transiting into low or zero carbon marine fuels is the single most important and significant way to reduce the carbon footprint from shipping. As a top bunkering hub port, Singapore is taking a multi-fuel approach in this major fuel transition. We are pursuing electrification for our harbour crafts and cargo terminals. We are also facilitating the greater uptake and adoption of renewable marine fuels, such as biofuels, for both our harbour craft fleet and ocean-going vessels. Hydrogen and hydrogen carriers, such as ammonia and methanol, will be key to the mid and long-term transition. MPA is a member and partner of the Castor Initiative, which seeks to develop and commercialize the first ammonia-fueled tanker by 2024. We also take a mission-centric approach, bring together value chain partners across R&D performers, technology developers, and industry players within a consortium to enable the end-to-end development from R&D, trials, scale-up, and eventually deployment. Last year, MPA, together with 6 companies, established the Global Center for Maritime Decarbonization, or GCMD in short, with $120 million in funding to support projects to help the industry eliminate greenhouse gas emissions. GCMD will be an instrumental partner to industry consortiums seeking to pursue R&D and conduct pilot trials in Singapore. We welcome industry consortiums to reach out to MPA and our partners to pursue the development and piloting of future marine fuels and technologies. Establishing a global network of low-carbon fuels with the necessary infrastructure, fuel availability, and competitive price may take time. Operational measures and ship technologies today can already bring down carbon emissions at the individual vessel and fleet level. So these include technologies and systems such as air lubrication, shipboard predictive monitoring and maintenance, as well as anti-fouling paints or technologies, some of which Klaus has also shared and elaborated earlier. Digital solutions such as weather routing, shipboard IoT sensors could further advise and augment decision-making for the crew on the optimization of vessel operations. There are opportunities in this space for more solutioning and adoption. The Singapore Maritime Institute is looking into new R&D initiatives and programs such as the Future Ships and Systems Design, which will help build local capabilities and develop technologies in this area. So last but not least, optimizing port-ship interfaces will translate to less idling time for ships at the port, waiting for a berth, either for cargo operations or for marine services. Less idling time means less fuel burn and also less carbon emissions. MPA launched the Digital Port at SG in 2019 as a one-stop clearance platform for all vessel-related transactions. Last year, under Phase 2, we have started to trial the just-in-time planning and coordination platform for port users. This will help to shorten the turnaround time of ships calling at the Singapore port. When fully operationalized, the JIT services is expected to benefit over 2,000 maritime companies, and ships could shorten their port stays by a day or more. The developments in Digital Port at SG will support IMO's e-navigation initiative by harmonizing collection, integration, and exchange of marine information on board and ashore. So for us, we see the future of shipping will be shaped by both digitalization and sustainability advances, which will further accelerate global developments under the maritime autonomous surface ships. So the last segment of my presentation will cover the ecosystem approach and enabling environment that MPA takes to foster industry transformation and innovation. We have a thriving and vibrant ecosystem of maritime and innovation players within Singapore, anchored by the 5,000 maritime corporates, which includes over 160 shipping groups. The ecosystem also comprises our corporate incubators and accelerators, venture capital firms, as well as research and innovation performers. We will continue to attract global companies and grow local companies to be established in Maritime Singapore as the industry transforms. As a major hub port and home to many ship owners, operators, and managers, Maritime Singapore is uniquely positioned for the co-creation and test bedding of digital and decarbonization solutions. Beyond the plans, schemes, funding, and partners that I've mentioned earlier, the enabling environment that allows companies to trial new technologies under a sandbox arrangement enables innovations to be tested in one of the most challenging and busiest real-world conditions. Today, we have living labs established by MPA, PSA, and Jurong Port. This covers physical to digital test bedding. For example, the MPA Maritime Drone Estate at Marina South has enabled marine tech startups and maritime corporates to demonstrate shore-to-ship deliveries of 3D printed marine parts. So we welcome partners to take advantage of these resources to develop, trial, and deploy your digital and green technologies in Singapore. So I'd like to end off my sharing with an invitation for you to reach out to us or our partners for collaboration as you embark on your journey to digitalize and decarbonize. There are industry touchpoints and ambassadors for the various initiatives that I mentioned earlier. So we have ambassadors for the Maritime Digitalization Playbook. The Chief Digital Innovator or CDO network supports the broad industry and enterprise digitalization efforts. So I'm also pleased to take this opportunity to thank, some of our program ambassadors and innovators, Klaus, Puneet, Nakul, and team. They have been very supportive of our initiatives, and I encourage you to reach out to them to learn more about these initiatives. With this, thank you very much, and I wish all a fruitful discussion and productive conference ahead. Thank you.
The types of systems that you're using and data exchange formats, etc., are you collaborating with other ports around the world on maybe trying to standardize some of these approaches to make it easier for shipping companies to interface with the different ports that they visit, so it doesn't become something of a different system at every port for digital exchange, which obviously would be less efficient?
Right. Thank you for the question. Indeed, actually, our MPA has been working closely with our various industry partners and also shipping communities to look at how we can standardize some of these data that are being reported to the port authorities. So, for example, MPA is also involved in the IMO FEL committee to look at how we can harmonize and standardize some of these data exchanges. In addition to that, I think as I shared in my presentation earlier, the Digital Oceans Initiative is also meant to harmonize and synchronize some of this vessel-related information to be exchanged between ports and ships. And we have actually roped in various different partners to ensure that some of this information are harmonized as far as possible across not just the port authorities, but also with major shipping and cargo groups, the likes of TradeLands, DCSA.
Yes, hi, Patrick from BW Group. I have a question regarding these tour spots. There is a lot going on regarding the container, because that's, of course, the big of the volume. But the Singapore ecosystem is also made of a lot of tanker operators, tanker managers. So what is actually the initiative from MPA in also looking at this part of the cargo operations?
Thanks for the question. So, yeah, you have rightly pointed out that the Tuas Port project focuses on container cargo operations. For the other non-container cargo operations, we have been working with the different stakeholder groups, be it in terms of Jurong Port for general cargo, bulk cargo, to look at how some of the processes can be further automated and made more efficient. In fact, the just-in-time platform that I mentioned earlier helps other shipping types such as your tankers, your bulk carriers, to tap on the Singapore Port Marine Services in a more efficient way through a just-in-time arrangement, so that whether you are looking at berth on arrival or you're looking at assessing marine services such as bunkering or ship supplies, for example, the service turnaround time can be further reduced or made more efficient. So some of this will be done through digital port. Others will also be further enhanced through other initiatives that MPA is pursuing, such as the likes of digital bunkering project that we are embarking with the likes of IMDA and SG TradeX. Thank you.